Hey everyone, I got a simple question for you. How many times have you procrastinated this week? Be honest. We've all been there, right? Myself, I've been there more than most. Whether it's putting off that work project, delaying a workout, or simply going to bed without doing your chores. Procrastination is something that so many of us struggle with. But today I'm going to tell you that overcoming procrastination is actually very simple. Stick around to the end of the video to get a quick action guide for how to implement this into your life. Let's jump in. Welcome back to Peak Life, and if you're new here, I'm Brandon. And on this channel, I share my insights learned as an engineer in my day job, and together we journey to design, build, and live our own peak life. In today's video, we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart, and something that I think a lot of people can benefit from, and that is learning how to overcome procrastination. Procrastination is that sneaky little habit that can wreak havoc on our lives. It destroys our productivity and degrades our mental well-being. But the good news is, it doesn't have to sideline your life. There's a few simple strategies that can help you overcome procrastination. But before we look into how to solve it, let's start off with understanding a little more about procrastination and why we procrastinate. Procrastination, despite what some people might think, is not about being lazy or having poor time management skills. P.S. For a whole video of my time management protocol, check out here. Procrastination is often rooted in much deeper psychological reasons. Oftentimes, it's to avoid negative feelings. Feelings like anxiety for completing the project, fear of failure, or even boredom. When a task feels too daunting, or we doubt our ability to properly execute it, our brain will seek immediate relief by putting it off. For example, a paper in psychological science found that procrastination is linked to how we regulate our emotions. Instead of facing a task that causes discomfort, we will divert our attention to a more enjoyable activity. While this gives us a temporary boost, it ends up just leading to increased stress, guilt, and negativity later on when that task is due. Another key factor in procrastination is the lack of clear direction. This is what I've suffered with the most. When a task feels too big, too daunting to start, and you don't know what to do next, it's very easy to feel extremely overwhelmed. This creates a vicious cycle, where the more we avoid the task, the more intimidating it becomes. And this spiral just keeps on going and going until we give up altogether. Now that we've explored a little more on the background of procrastination, let's look at how we can actually solve this. I think the number one key skill to overcoming procrastination is, as David Allen explains in his book, Getting Things Done, you need to break these tasks into smaller and smaller pieces until it's extremely simple and you know exactly what to do. For me personally, this has been a game changer. Before, I would have these huge projects listed as priorities, and I just didn't know where to start or where to go next. So now when I'm in the right headspace, I'll take those big projects out and break them down into milestones. And then those milestones can be broken into subtasks. And then for your daily priorities, you just have to look at those subtasks and start on the next one. It's kind of like the authors say, when you're finished writing for a day, don't finish your sentence. That way when you come back the next morning, you don't have to think where to start. All you have to do is finish that sentence. This builds the momentum, and as soon as you get going, your creativity flows. The same thing with procrastination. Write out what you need to accomplish that next day. That way you're not staring at a blank page. You know exactly what to do. Another great strategy is to become more specific, especially in goal setting. And this could be long-term goals, like what your quarterly goals are, which I've talked about up here, or it could be more of your daily goals of what tasks you want to accomplish. Instead of being vague, like, oh, I need to exercise, be specific when you set it out. Say something like, I'm going to go for a walk around the block at 4 p.m. That way you know exactly what's required, when you're going to start. And then if you want to do more, that's fine. But you're not thinking, oh, what time should I go for my walk? What time am I going to exercise? Where am I going to go? Separate the planning and the execution stage. That way you can plan in one mindset and then just execute on autopilot. Let's talk about James Clear's Atomic Habits. In his book that I recommend everyone read, he emphasizes the power of tiny gains, the power of these small habits and incremental improvements over time. And one of his key takeaways that has become most famous is his 2-minute rule. This suggests that a new habit should be broken down into a small enough task that it takes no more than 2 minutes. For example, if you're trying to read more, you don't start off saying that you're going to read a chapter a day. Instead, you just say, I'm going to read a page a day, or I'm going to read for a 2-minute timer every day. And then as this habit builds, you can increase that time. But the key is And this is the same thing with procrastination. You want to make it small enough that you're not scared to start. And another strategy for overcoming procrastination is outlined in the book, The Procrastination Equation by Piers Steel. In this book, Steel breaks down procrastination into three main factors: expectancy, value, and time. Expectancy is your confidence of completing the task. Value is about how rewarding you find the task. And time is how long you expect it to take until you get that reward of having the task completed. To beat procrastination, it's all about increasing your expectancy of how likely you think you are to accomplish the task. The higher that expectancy is, the less likely you'll be to procrastinate. And if it's at work, a great way to do this is to become better at your job. Do this through mentorship, asking your boss for help, and taking personal development courses. If this is at home, it's about breaking down those tasks into smaller and smaller chunks until you know that you will 100% complete it. The next step is about increasing the value of the task. So my big takeaway of this is, don't try to achieve everything. Instead, really in the day, focus on the things that you care about. And that's going to make this value go a lot higher. Because if you're just trying to accomplish a whole bunch of things that you don't really care about, or that someone else told you to do, you'll have far less intrinsic motivation. It's like so many books have told us, if you have a strong enough why, you can do anyhow. And then the next part is the time component, decreasing the amount of time that you're going to see the reward. A perfect example of this is, say you want to have six-pack abs, and you're going to have to work out every day for 3 years. Well, that's a long time to be committed. But if I told you you do this one workout and you're going to have abs tomorrow, you're far less likely to procrastinate that workout. And that's because the time has been shrunk that you're going to see the reward. So once you take all these tips that we just covered, as in making it clear where to start, breaking down your task until it's something that only takes 2 minutes to do, and then increasing the confidence that you'll achieve it, the value that it's going to bring you, and decrease the time until you see that reward. You might be asking, how am I going to actually implement this? How does the work look like? Well, what I've found has been helpful for so many people is at work using the Pomodoro method. And that is, you do a 25-minute block of work, and then you take 5 minutes of break. And this is just an example. It might be 50 minutes of work and 10-minute break. But the whole idea is that when you're working, you want to be working. And then take a reset break. For so long, I spent my whole day somewhat distracted. I let notifications come into my phone. I was always checking my email or my Slack. But now I've found that I've been able to get far more done and far less likely to procrastinate on the next task when I have dedicated blocks, which you can learn more about in this video up here, all about my time management system. So to wrap it up, overcoming procrastination is about taking control of your life and breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces. Set specific goals and use the Pomodoro method to have dedicated work time and rest time. Read the books Atomic Habits by James Clear and The Procrastination Equation to get more information how to build these healthy habits and overcome procrastination. Remember, procrastination is all just about getting started. So the more you can reduce the friction to get started, the less likely you are to procrastinate. Now I want to hear from you, so please share in the comments below if you've experienced procrastination and what some of the techniques are that you've used to overcome it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video up here. Bye.